Today on Play to Win, Jeffrey the Ed Schechter is 67% against the spread on the year. We'll have Auburn going to Mississippi State. Ole Miss goes to Texas A&M, plus the Bulldogs will be playing Missouri. And in the NFL, the Chicago Bears come to Atlanta to play the Falcons, plus injury updates and Adams' fantasy football projections.
Play to Win is being brought to you by John Foy and Associates and Kia Mall of Georgia and Mall of Georgia Chrysler Dodge Jeep.
Welcome to Play to Win with former Falcons All-Pro defensive end Chuck Smith. Game analysis with Adam Brown. Fantasy Football League previews by Nikki Williams. Play to Win expert Jeffrey Schechter. Injury updates with Dr. Andrew Lalage. And your host, Atlanta sports veteran Bob Neal.
Our college football report is being brought to you by Mall of Georgia Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Kia Mall of Georgia.
All right, Dr. Lalage and Adam will be along later in the show. Right now on the set, let's give a round of applause to Jeffrey.
Hey, Jeffrey.
10-3 last week, 67% of the season picking games. You're unbelievable.
Where's the envelope?
Well, it's for fun only. By the way, this is for entertainment purposes only, Jeffrey. I meant to tell him that ahead of time.
Picking winners.
He'll probably not be back next week. And of course, Nikki Williams and Chuck Smith, along with yours truly, Bob Neal. We welcome you to the show. And as usual, we start with our college football. Last week, 5 of 8 of the top-ranked teams lost. This week, 5 more top-ranked teams are in action against each other. Nationally, you see there, Oregon, UCLA, they both lost last week. Oklahoma, Texas, usually a big one. They'll be playing at Jerry's Dome, but Texas can't score, only 13 points a game in their last 4. And we have 2 ways of looking at this, the top national ranked teams, and then you go to the SEC West, and you find that those games are also among teams that are ranked in the top 25. Auburn at Mississippi State, which we'll break down in just a moment. Ole Miss, Texas A&M. And you notice at the bottom there, not ranked, which is unusual, LSU at Florida. Nikki Williams, get us started on that game.
I aged around 10 years last week, but I tell you what, this game isn't going to age me the way it used to. It may not age everybody else. But this game still matters to Florida. People are forgetting Florida's still got a pulse. They're still in the game, and they've got a pretty good defense. I know they've got the sloppy quarterback situation, but LSU doesn't know what to do at quarterback. So this could be a pretty level playing field for these guys.
All right, let's go to another very big game, and this is Ole Miss coming off, of course, their big win at Alabama, and Ole Miss now goes to Texas A&M, Chuck. Can the defense of Ole Miss, which, by the way, is number 1 in the country in efficiency, Texas A&M's offense is number 1 in offensive efficiency. Who wins that battle?
Well, Kenny Hill last week, a lot of what happened in that game, Bob, you got to look at the facts of the facts. His receivers dropped a lot of passes. I mean, it was unbelievable, but he still performed well over 350 yards. I think he had 386. But this Ole Miss defense is special. They got, to me, a guy who's going to be a first-round pick, Robert Kendichi. We talked about him last week. I just think it's going to be tough to beat Ole Miss. Bo Wallace has got a lot of confidence at quarterback for Ole Miss right now. I just think that Ole Miss is going to come out and really just shut them down defensively and have a big day on the offensive side.
All right, now Alabama's going to play Arkansas. They're coming off the loss. Nick Saban's got to have lit a fire under these guys.
Well, and you know what? And a lot has been talked this week. A.J. McCarron comes out and talks about leadership when it comes to Alabama, but the facts remain this Alabama team has leaders. They've been winning. And guess what? The only leader that matters right now at Alabama is Nick Saban. They will be fine.
All right, so Alabama at Arkansas. You think Arkansas can beat Alabama?
No. I don't want to be anyone that's playing Alabama this week.
That's right. Not a good week.
Saban's going to set something on fire.
Not a good week. Somebody steps on the person's toe. You don't want to mess with them. And now, our college football showdown of the week, brought to you by the Georgia Lottery. It's number 2 Auburn at number 3 Mississippi State. I can't wait to hear what you think about this game. Everybody thinks Auburn, no matter what you say, is a little better than Mississippi State. What do you think?
Well, I think it's going to be important for Auburn to run the ball. I mean, Auburn has to come out and establish the run, because I'm going to tell you this, Dak Prescott and this Mississippi State team, they're feeling it right now. And look, the bottom line is you got to be able to stop Dak Prescott because he's putting up yardage. Last year he had a big day against Auburn. He's feeling confident. Mississippi State runs the ball. It's going to be tough for Auburn to stop.
What do you think, Nikki Williams?
I'd like to see Mississippi State win. I know Auburn travels well. They're going to be bringing the crew to town. They're bringing their own cowbells. They want to make sure that their fans are distinguishable.
Well, the crew doesn't have to play.
The crew doesn't have to play, but they make a make a lot of
I hate
noise.
those cowbells.
Those cowbells. Well, now both sides are going to have cowboys. There's going to be trouble in the stands. You behave yourself. I'm pointing at you, Auburn and Mississippi State. And now it's time to get our picks from Jeffrey the Ed Schechter. I wonder how he's going to go on that game. Let's take a look at him, Jeffrey. Again, last week 10-3 against the spread in our games that he picked. And here you go. Mississippi State favored by 2.5.
Those are the two best teams in the country. If it's a close game, they're still going to be the two best teams in the country. But I think Mississippi State is the best team in the country. I love them at home with the 2.5.
And you like Ole Miss?
Love Ole Miss. Defense is good. They run the ball. They'll keep A&M's offense off the field. I don't think A&M's that good. Take the 2 with the Rebels.
And you like Arkansas?
Arkansas is getting better. They hung in there with A&M 2 weeks ago. Bama's not that good. Take the 9.5 with Arkansas.
All right, that's Jeffrey the Ed Schechter and his picks. We have more coming up in the show, and then even more. All the picks are online at playingtowin.tv. Back with Hometown Team Report in a moment.
It's an October Festival of Savings going on now at Mall of Georgia Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. No tricks, just a treat of a price on the 2014 Ram Crew Cab. Save $10,000 off. Sale priced at only $25,999. A super deal on a 2014 Dodge Charger. Take $9,000 off MSRP. And during Chrysler's Great American Drive event, get $6,000 off MSRP on a new 2015 Chrysler 200. The October Festival of Savings event at Mall of Georgia Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram or online at yourdodge.com.
This is the dream, people. You men will... Is that...
Sir, yes, sir. He's a fire-breathing goat, sir.
Goats can't fly planes. Wow. Give it a shot.
Kevin, you okay up there?
You could have just asked me what the red button does.
Live out your dreams. Win up to $300,000 playing Keno with the all-new Bullseye.
Your life moves fast, so when you want it fixed, we know you want it fixed fast. I'm Brian Estes with Estes Services, and Estes will fix it at the speed of life. Go to EstesAir.com and see what we can do for you with our heating and air residential services. Your factory authorized carrier dealer is dependable, proven, and ready to help. Save energy and money with a dual fuel system from Estes Services.
We're Estes Services. We'll fix it at the speed of life.
We gave people a mind-blowing ride in what they thought was our most advanced Ultima race car. Then, we just blew their minds.
It's just crazy that this is like the car. I was just
The 2014 Nissan Altima with blind spot warning, advanced drive assist, and zero-gravity seats. Lease today just $189 per month, or get 0% APR for up to 60 months. Shop ChooseNissan.com. Nissan, innovation that excites.
Hometown Team Report is being brought to you by Mellow Mushroom Pizza Bakers, bringing a higher order of pizza to Atlanta for 40 years.
All right, the Hometown Team Report. That, of course, means Georgia, Georgia Tech, and the Atlanta Falcons. As we look at the matchups here, Georgia continues to be a soap opera. More on that in a second. Duke comes to Georgia Tech. Yellow Jackets are undefeated at 5-0, and Chicago Bears at 2-3 come to the 2-3 Atlanta Falcons. But let's get started, first of all, Chuck, with the Georgia Bulldogs. And as people know by now, Todd Gurley has been suspended for this game. And the reason he's suspended is because of an NCAA investigation into some irregularities in how he's been recruited or whether there's an agent involved. That story will be developing, but the big point is that he's not playing in the game against Missouri.
Well, the first thing is, Bob, being a former SEC coach, I feel bad for his teammates. They're counting on him, but that's the part of when you recruit really well, and that's what Georgia's done. You'll have Nick Chubb running the ball and a plethora of other guys, but I think they'll be fine.
Oh, what do you think about it?
I think we win without Gurley, but that's my alma mater. I'm ticked right now.
Yeah.
I'm really ticked. And if this was something that he had his hands in, he's definitely a dumb athlete.
Well, it'll hurt his Heisman chances if for no other reason that he's missing a game. I mean, even if the thing comes back and he's back next week. So that's a story of which we will be following more closely. Now let's talk about Georgia Tech and Duke. Duke comes into town. Always problems, and there's a little bit of a tiff between Cutcliffe and Paul Johnson. But let's talk about the game itself. What do you think, Georgia Tech and Duke?
And I like Georgia Tech because I love me some Zach Lasky running the ball. He is a thick I mean, running back, he runs in between the tackles well. And, of course, we've talked about Justin Thomas, what he brings to the game. Georgia Tech is going to run inside. They can run outside. I like what they do, and I think they're going to have a great day versus Duke.
And, Nikki, you had a caveat about this from the David Cutcliffe Duke side.
I think David Cutcliffe's had a couple of weeks to prepare, and he is not dumb. He is a smart man, and I would be a little bit nervous if I were Tech.
Well, one of the things we know is 2 weeks to prepare. Teams usually do defend that run option of Georgia Tech a little bit better. Now we're going to talk about the Falcons. A lot of people down on the Falcons because they're 2-3, but Perry Laurentino at 680 The Fan does our 68 seconds with 680 this week, and he is bullish on the Falcons for one reason. That is the NFC South.
When you look in the division right now at both Carolina and New Orleans, their schedules the next 3 or 4 weeks are absolutely brutal. You got Cam Newton at Carolina who's hobbling around. Still, he can't run. Their running backs are banged up. Their offensive line's not protecting them. And the bottom line with Carolina is, without Greg Hardy and without Mike Mitchell, that defense is just not the same. New Orleans, Drew Brees is having to throw desperate balls up there because Jimmy Graham's banged up and their wide receivers just aren't getting the separation that they used to. And their defense, too, nowhere near as good as the unit that was a top 5 team last year in the NFL. So what I'm saying is this. You take care of business, Atlanta Falcons, and you win 3 of the next 4, as crazy as this sounds. If the Falcons, after 9 weeks, are sitting at 5-4, I think they're going to be atop the NFC South. So fans, don't lose hope and rise up.
Now let's talk about the Bears and the Falcons and what you think are the keys to the game.
Well, I think the keys are for the Falcons. They have to slow down Jay Cutler in this offense, and also they got to focus on stopping the run and Matt Forte, because the bottom line is you got to make it one-dimensional. Right. They have an air game, but the Falcons, they got to take care of themselves, do the things that they do well, that's throwing the ball, and figure out on defense because they haven't done anything well yet.
I know, and Devin Hester still has a little bit of a chip on his shoulder from being with the Bears. Didn't like the way he exited there. He'll be playing this game. May see something special from Devin Hester when he comes out. Now it's time for Jeffrey to make the predictions. I remind you once again, this guy is killing it. You got to be listening to him. And by the way, he not only picks the college and the pros, but he has a lot more picks than you see on the show on playingtowin.tv. Go to that. All right, Jeffrey, let's take a look at your picks. And here you go. You like Georgia at Missouri.
If they play football the way they're supposed to, run the ball down Missouri's throat, don't depend on their quarterback. Missouri lost at home to Indiana. They should lose at home to Georgia. Give the points with the Bulldogs. I love the way Tech is playing. Running the ball, passing when they need it. Their defense is scrappy. Give the 3 over the Blue Devils. Chicago's going to score a lot of points, and Atlanta's not going to score as many. Take the 3 with Chicago.
All right, there they are. Jeffrey the Edge and his picks. We'll be back in just a moment, and we'll have Adam's fantasy football projections on Play to Win.
Why can't I have a slice of yours?
You're a cartoon. You can only have cartoon pizza.
It's not fair.
Look, this pie is 100% real, and you're colored ink. It's physics, man.
Well, can you buy me a beer?
I can buy you a cartoon beer. Are you single?
It's surprise.
Everyone wants real Mellow Mushroom Pizza because our pies use premium meats and cheeses, fresh veggies, and spring water dough baked with wheat goodness. Mellow Mushroom, a higher order of pizza.
Right after I got hurt in my car wreck, the other guy's insurance company offered to fix my car, but they only offered me $750 for my injuries, and then they wanted me to sign this.
Don't sign anything until you've talked to me. I'm Attorney John Foy, the Strong Arm. You may be giving up tens of thousands of dollars by signing the insurance company's release form. Call me.
That same day, the insurance company said they'll fix my car and offered me this check for $600.
Don't take that check. Let me get you the money you deserve. Call on the Strong Arm.
Today's Player Medical Report is being brought to you by Piedmont Healthcare, now a certified member of the MD Anderson Cancer Network.
Dr. Andrew Lalage, the Chief Medical Officer of the Radiology Group and the creator of InsideInjuries.com, is not here in Atlanta with us this week. He's in New York with all the other top radiologists in the United States at a meeting, but he still had time before he left to give us his update on the injury situation in the NFL as we're 6 weeks in.
Week 6 of the NFL, you get pretty banged up running backs and tight ends. Let's start with our first athlete, Monte Ball. Monte Ball has a pretty significant groin injury. The team is yet to release the status of his injury today. However, because he only had a concussion in 2012, his performance grade only goes down to a B+. We still expect him to be at 75% performance, so if he's activated, you should still start him on your fantasy team. Rashad Jennings, he is on the do not start list if he's activated, with a knee sprain in 14 and a hamstring strain in 13, and in 2012 he has a shoulder injury. The knee sprain this time that he sustained is pretty significant. His grade is now down, unfortunately, to an F+, 30% performance. I would not start him this weekend. Jake Locker. Thumb injuries in the throwing hand of a quarterback can be significantly compromising, as well as they recur over and over and over again. And so I would recommend not starting him. His grade goes down to a C at 55% performance. There is a pretty good backup in his place, so I would not start him this weekend.
Next up, the official NFL injury list, plus Adam Brown's fantasy football projections.
There are plenty of choices when it comes to Medicare. So why not choose the plan backed by the 2 local leaders in healthcare that have been taking care of you for years? Piedmont Wellstar Medicare Choice HMO is a comprehensive Medicare Advantage plan that includes hospital care, doctor visits, and prescription drug costs, all for nothing more than you already pay for your Part B premium. It even comes with enhanced features to help keep you well. So take the first step. Call now to get your free Piedmont Wellstar Medicare Choice Enrollment Kit. It includes detailed benefit information, a full physician directory, and easy-to-follow steps to get enrolled. There's no obligation, so call today to get your free kit. There's a lot to consider when it comes to Medicare. Make a fresh choice. Piedmont Wellstar Medicare Choice. Medicare coverage backed by the doctors and nurses of Piedmont and Wellstar. Call today to get your free information and enrollment kit.
We're still under construction at Kia Mall of Georgia, building a new dealership to serve you, Atlanta. But we've got too many cars in the way, and they've got to go. We've still got a great selection of 2015 Kia Optimas, starting at just $17,997. Unbelievable price on a new 2015 Kia Sorento LX, starting at only $19,997. All inventory drastically reduced, and lenders standing by with a 100% loan approval goal. Kia Mall of Georgia, 2.5 miles west of the Mall of Georgia, or online at lovemykia.com.
Today's injury report is brought to you by John Foy and Associates. If you've been injured in an accident, be sure to call John Foy, the strong arm.
All right, 3 running backs, 2 wide receivers, and a quarterback on the NFL list of who's injured this week, which will, of course, come into play for your fantasy leagues. And Adam's going to be talking about, of course, the fantasy projections in a moment. So you see A.J. Green and Calvin Johnson, the 3 running backs in Ball, Bush, and Jennings. Jake Locker, the quarterback, who is questionable with his hand injury. He heard it while he was practicing and catching a ball that was thrown really hard, ripped his hand open. Can happen. Crazy what happens then. That's the injury report, and it's brought to you by John Foy and Associates. And now it is time for our fantasy report, brought to you by SD Services, Who's Hot and Who's Cold. And I welcome to the set Adam Brown. And Adam, there are 2 teams this week who have byes, Kansas City and New Orleans, and that's important in fantasy because they got a lot of firepower there.
There's about 10 fantasy players currently that are on bye this week, and it's an average of about 10 players. So, you know, this week is a big week for people to pick up players on waivers.
Let's start with the quarterbacks as usual, and you sure do like Eli Manning.
I do like Eli Manning this week. Everybody talks about Peyton Manning, but Eli Manning's the man this week. Philly's giving up an average of 24.1 points per game to opposing quarterbacks this season, and Eli has been taking care of the football. He has just 1 turnover the past 3 weeks, 8 touchdown passes the past 3 weeks.
All right, let's take a look at who's hot with the running backs. And by the way, those numbers you see there for each one of those players, those are the projections of their performance this coming game by Adam Brown.
Brandon Oliver had a big week last week. With Donald Brown out in San Diego, they're going to get Brandon Oliver the rock even more this week. Oakland's giving up 25.8 points per game to opposing running backs, and they're giving up 141 yards on the ground per game through their first 4 games.
All right, which of the wide receivers are hot?
Calvin Johnson's out, Golden Tate is in. I project him to have 7 catches for 111 and a touchdown this week. With Calvin Johnson out, like I said, Tate stepping into the number 1 role. The past 2 weeks, he has 15 catches for 250 yards and a touchdown, and that's with Johnson playing. So Minnesota is giving up 5 TDs to receivers the past 2 weeks. I like Golden Tate.
All right, who's cold? Let's take a look at who's cold and what the sleepers are this week. You've been really good on the sleepers. You've been right on sleepers about 12 out of 15, if I'm not incorrect. So listen to these sleepers. First of all, who's cold?
Well, Cam Newton's ice cold. You know, he's having a bad season. No one can block for him. He can't get his receivers the ball. He has Kelvin Benjamin, but when they're double teaming him, who he's going to get the ball to? His running backs are hurt. I think Cam Newton's going to be ice cold this week. And on the sleepers front, Kendall Wright, no matter who's playing quarterback, whether it be Whitehurst or Locker, Kendall Wright is coming off a 6-catch, 2-touchdown performance last week, and the Jags defense is bad.
All right. Good job once again.
Thank you.
All right.
Good luck, everybody.
Yeah, good luck to you. I've got 2 thumbs up for me, and that's for me. We'll be back in a moment with more Play to Win as we look at the NFL.
Your life moves fast, so when your plumbing goes bad, we know you want it fixed fast. I'm Tommy Estes, inviting you to see what we can provide with our plumbing services. We're dedicated to the same high standards of quality we've held ourselves to since 1949. From leak repairs to water pressure, from water heaters to toilet issues, Estes is dependable, proven, and ready to help. Call Estes and we'll fix it at the speed of life.
We'll fix it at the speed of life.
Right after I got hurt in my car wreck, the other guy's insurance company offered to fix my car. They only offered me $750 for my injury, and they wanted me to sign this.
Don't sign anything until you've talked to me. I'm attorney John Foy, the Strong Arm. You may be giving up tens of thousands of dollars by signing the insurance company's release form. Call me.
And they offered me this check for $1,000.
Don't take that check. Let me get you the money you deserve. Call in the Strong Arm.
Call attorney John Foy, the Strong Arm. The NFL Report is brought to you by the Greater Atlanta Nissan dealers. Innovation that excites.
Week 6 in the NFL, Kansas City and New Orleans have byes, but there's some other good games. Let's take a look at the games we think are key games, and that is Dallas at Seattle, Carolina at Cincinnati will be interesting, Giants at Philly, and New England at Buffalo. And Nikki, let's get started with you and Dallas playing much better than everybody thought they would so far this year, going to Seattle.
This is a very exciting game to me, Bob, because I've loved watching the Cowboys. They're a totally different team. I think the biggest difference is their improved defense. Both of these teams are coming into this game tied for first in their divisions. It matters.
Who wins up there, Seattle?
Well, yep, I like Seattle. I don't believe in the Dallas Cowboys yet. I mean, I know right now they're doing a better job on defense. They're running the ball. But I believe that this Seattle team is special. They're physical. I want to see what happens when Seattle hits Dallas in the mouth and hits Romo a few times and see how it reacts. I like it, the Seattle team.
I like this game, too. I can't wait to see what you think about it. That's the New York Giants, who've been playing well, better than people expected. Eli Manning's playing better, and they're going to Philadelphia.
Well, and this is a rivalry, and you know, Philadelphia, the key to Philadelphia to me is LaShawn McCoy. That's why the offense has been stuttering. And it's as simple as that. But give New York a lot of credit for working the scheme. Give Eli a lot of credit for growing with this offense. I mean, New York's doing a good job. I believe they throw the ball downfield. I think the Giants go ahead and win 3 in a row.
And Adam Brown liked Eli Manning on the fantasy football projections, too. All right, Jeffrey, now it's time for Jeffrey the Edge Schechter at 67% on the year with his projections. All right, how do you see him? First of all, Carolina at Cincinnati.
With or without A.J. Green, Cincinnati should be able to shut down Carolina and cover the 6.5 points.
And you like Seattle at home?
Dallas, it's a reality check time. They're playing good football. Give the 8 with Seattle. Philly, after week 2, I would have made Philadelphia a 14-point favorite over the Giants. Now they're a 2.5-point favorite. Their offense hasn't really looked good this year. I like the Giants with the 2.5 points.
All right, Jeffrey the Edge Schechter. And if you haven't had enough of Jeffrey yet, stay tuned because we have more. The lightning round is next on Play to Win.
Nissan Sentra with Nissan Connect.
Love is like a shower on me all the time. I really need it tonight. Forever's gonna start tonight.
Man, this doesn't look like Vegas. It's easy to lose yourself, but nearly impossible to get lost. Choose Sentra just $149 per month, or Ultima only $189 per month. Shop ChooseNissan.com. Innovation that excites.
The Wizard, can you make me real so I can eat real mellow mushroom pizza instead of cartoon pizza?
Stand back. Here we go. Alakazam! Wiggity stickety poof!
I'm still a cartoon.
Then that'd be a no.
Everyone wants real mellow mushroom pizza because our pies use premium meats and cheeses, fresh veggies, and spring water dough baked with wheat goodness.
Wickety stickety poof.
Mellow Mushroom, a higher order of pizza.
With the new Cadillac Instant Ticket, you can win amazing cash prizes instantly. But that's just scratching the surface. You could win the ultimate prize. One of the most luxurious, stylish, innovative cars in the world. A new Cadillac. Play the new Cadillac Riches Scratcher from the Georgia Lottery, and you could win up to $250,000 or a brand new Cadillac vehicle.
All right, moving along, it is time for the lightning round with Jeffrey the Edge Schechter, 10-3, picking against the spread last week. Let's get started with your lightning round picks this week. First of all, Boston College at NC State.
NC State has no defense. Boston College should run right through them, take the 4.
TCU at Baylor.
TCU got into the top 10. They'll be out of the top 10 by Saturday night. Give the points with Baylor.
Southern Cal goes to Arizona.
An overrated team against an underrated team. The overrated team is favored. The underrated team's at home. Yummy. Almost as good as a mellow mushroom pizza. Take the points with Arizona.
You'll get an extra slice for that. Green Bay's at Miami.
Green Bay's starting to play ball. They should cover the 3 over Miami.
How about Tampa Bay? You like them as much as they're struggling, huh?
Tampa's playing good ball. Gave New Orleans a heck of a game the other day. Baltimore struggles on the road. Take the 3 with Tampa.
And Jacksonville, everybody's underdog, is once again.
The bowl season starts early this year. You got the toilet bowl. These are 2 terrible teams. But I like Jacksonville's garbage better than I like Tennessee's garbage. Take the 6 with Jacksonville.
All right, we have just a moment left in the show, but I want to get all 4 of you one more time on Auburn, Mississippi State. Who do you like? I know you picked it.
Mississippi State's the best team in the country.
All right.
Mississippi State.
All right, Mississippi State.
I'm rolling with Gus Malzahn and Gabe Wright in that defense and the Auburn Tigers.
All right, I don't know. For some reason, I'm pulling for Mississippi State, but I'm with Chuck. I think Auburn goes in, and Nick Marshall may steal the stage, I think, from Dak Prescott. What a game that is going to be. By the way, for Jeffrey and Nikki and Chuck, I've made her mad. We'll make up after the show. And Dr. Lalaji and Adam Brown, I'm Bob Neal. We'll see you next week on Play to Win.
Today's show has been brought to you by Mellow Mushroom Pizza Bakers and the Greater Atlanta Nissan Dealers.